We are live from the Thunderdome, where tonight, Orlando Johnson is poised to become the all-time leading scorer in Santa Barbara history. Cal Poly and UCSB next on the U. Good evening from the beautiful city of Santa Barbara, where tonight we are inside the Thunderdome, and welcome to ESPNU's Judgment Week as Cal Poly takes on UC Santa Barbara in a Big West matchup. As we look at the Big West Conference standings, the judgment is in. Long Beach State ran away with the regular season title. Only question is, will the 49ers remain unbeaten? For UC Santa Barbara and Cal Poly, they're fighting for the best seed possible for a conference tournament that starts down in Anaheim in 12 days. And welcome once again inside the Thunderdome. It's great to have you with us. I'm Josh Suchon alongside the former coach, Mark Adams. UC Santa Barbara and Cal Poly is a great rivalry. No matter what the sport, it's always an electric atmosphere. But tonight, Mark, besides bragging rights, what else is on the line?
For Santa Barbara, Josh, they've won the last 2 Big West Conference Tournament championships and NCAA bids. Momentum on their side, but Long Beach State stands in the way again. For Cal Poly, when you talk about rivalries, are they only a threat or are they a true contender? The Mustangs tonight, to prove they're a contender, can beat their rivals on their home floor in Santa Barbara. This is going to be physical. Let's get ready, partner.
Let's get ready. Let's get to the one-on-one, because tonight the focus is all about protecting the basketball and scoring the basketball.
And you know, Josh, when you talk about Cal Poly, it's not just protecting the ball, it's cherishing it. 13th in the country of taking care of the basketball. And tonight is an historic night here at Santa Barbara. As one of the true greats in Big West Conference history, Orlando Johnson will be crowned the scoring champion in Gaucho basketball history at home here tonight in Santa Barbara.
And as we look at the starting lineups for Cal Poly, they start 3 seniors, 34, David Hanson, their leading scorer at just over 11 points a game. For UC Santa Barbara, also 3 seniors, 2 freshmen, but again, the story, number 33, Orlando Johnson, 3 points away from becoming the career leader in UC Santa Barbara history. And you know, Mark, I think one of the other things that's so impressive, he'll have done it in 3 years. The guy that he's passing did it in 4, and he will have done it in 3 years as we get started. Maybe our second take will get started.
It's one of the hardest jobs in basketball. Throw the ball up straight to open the game. It really is difficult.
And so the Gauchos in their gray uniforms, the home team will open. That's their point guard, TJ Taylor, a freshman from Oakland.
And Cal Poly opens up in their 3-2 zone.
And it's a turnover on the first possession for UC Santa Barbara. That was a problem Wednesday against Long Beach State. As Dylan Royer misses the 3-point attempt, Cal Poly will retain possession. That's Bob Williams. He became the all-time wins leader in UC Santa Barbara history earlier this year. In fact, it was a game against Cal Poly in which he became the all-time wins leader.
And Santa Barbara opens up in the 3-2 zone as well. Mirror images defensively tonight to open the game.
Cal Poly's a team that plays most of its games low scoring in the 60s. They'll take their time with their offensive possessions.
Pace, a critical element. We often talk about offensive patience, but tonight, Josh, Santa Barbara has to have defensive patience. They can't break down late in the shot clock.
With 4 on the shot clock, a tough shot by Furman is no good. And the Gauchos will control. Alan Williams with the rebound.
A really solid defense by Santa Barbara on the first possession.
Johnson feeds the big man, Alan Williams, and the Gauchos score first.
You're seeing the effect of Orlando Johnson, how effective he can be by distributing the basketball. All defenses focus on Orlando Johnson. He makes his teammates better.
Furman thought about the 3. Now inside to Will Taylor, guarded by Cerna. Loose ball. Eversley, count it, and he'll go to the line. That's Chris Eversley, the freshman from Chicago, Illinois.
Well, Chris Eversley, there you see his strength. He's one of those pivotal guys tonight. He's got to play well for Cal Poly to have a chance to pull this upset on the road against their rivals here in Santa Barbara.
Eversley definitely comes from a basketball family. His dad played 1 year for the Chicago Bulls in '79. His mom was on the Long Beach State teams that went to the Final Four in the early '80s. But he couldn't convert that three-point opportunity.
Joan Bonvicini was the head basketball coach at Long Beach State in that time. And had a tremendous women's program. And of course, Dan Monson now with his group at Long Beach State, undefeated in the Big West Conference.
Once again, it's Johnson beating the feeder as Nunnally scores 2.
Well, the yin and the yang. You got Johnson, and then Nunnally can really score it as well. Two great options for Bob Williams.
Nunnally gets lost in the shuffle sometimes because of Johnson, but he's averaging 15 points. He's gone over 20 points quite a few times this year. The feed to Taylor. And that's Nunnally with the rebound.
Santa Barbara more active in their half-court defense than I've seen them recently.
And Nunnally pulls up for 3 in transition, and the Gauchos with the early 5-point lead.
The effective defense leading to the open offense.
But the defense led him down there as Taylor goes inside for 2, and now a chance for his 3-point play. Joe Claro, the head coach at Cal Poly in his 3rd year, spent 1 year as an assistant at USC. Was at the University of Seattle before coming to Cal Poly, and he is one of 16 kids in his family.
You know, he played his college basketball for Dean Nicholson at Central Washington, won an NAIA national title. He learned how to develop relationships with his players from that legendary coach from the Pacific Northwest. Carried it to Puget Sound, then to Seattle. Now doing an outstanding job in his 3rd season at Cal Poly. And Cal Poly in a position right now could get a 4th seed in the Big West Conference tournament, could go over 500 this season. Be a big step for this program.
Now, they've never won 20 in their program's history since becoming a Division I school. They had 19 wins a few years ago. Last year, they're at 15, so they've already equaled that total.
Never been to postseason play beyond the conference tournament.
Here's Johnson, and that goes down, and now he is tied for UC Santa Barbara's all-time scoring record. 1 more point, and he'll have it.
You saw an example of his strength, that fadeaway.
And that's Royer. All he does is shoot 3s, and he's very effective when he fires.
46% from the 3-point line. He loves the 3 ball.
And there's the record. OJ for 3. So Orlando Johnson rewriting the UC Santa Barbara scoring record with that 3. And he knew it as soon as it let out of his hand.
Well, what a tremendous career, and what a tremendous young man. What a tremendous life story.
We'll talk about that life story a little bit more as we get into this broadcast. But on the other end, it's Royer hitting a shot from the baseline, and Joe Calero wants a 30-second timeout. So we'll keep it right here, and we'll watch how Orlando Johnson rewrites the Gaucho record book on that last play. They're introducing, making sure that the crowd knows. I think they all knew as soon as it left his hand that that was for the record. Orlando didn't want a game ball presented to him during the game. He wanted the focus to be on the game.
Well, there's the long-range bomb and that strength that we talk about from downtown. And you're right, Josh. They gave Orlando Johnson the option to stop the game and present him with the game ball. But true to his nature, true to what he's learned from his family, he's a selfless player, and there you see the ascension to the top of the scoring list at UC Santa Barbara. He didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I find that refreshing.
And again, Orlando Johnson is the scoring champion in 3 years. Alex Harris and Carrick DeHart did it in 4 years. If you combine Orlando Johnson's numbers from his first year at Loyola, he's close to 2,100 points.
Number 33 in gray, Orlando Johnson.
Gauchos are 5 of 5 from the field so far. Johnson and Nunnally, 10 of the 12 points for the Gauchos.
Johnson really moving hard without the basketball.
Nunnally for 3, a little too strong there. And a rebound by Jordan Lewis.
Watch Cal Poly's spacing. Watch the green jerseys, how they really spread the floor. This is designed for move basketball, look for gaps, penetrate, kick.
Lewis inside gets blocked. There's been a lot of blocks by the Gauchos this year. Now in transition, Taylor gets fouled, and he'll shoot 2. So a nice penetration by the freshman T.J. Taylor. And as we go to our first timeout, the Gauchos leading by 1. Orlando Johnson, what a great story of how he got here. His brothers, a big reason why he's here. We'll tell you more about that when we come back.
Kentucky, Mississippi State at 1:30, then Florida, Tennessee, tomorrow on ESPNU.
Orlando Johnson, now the all-time leading scorer in UC Santa Barbara history, and what a story of perseverance and overcoming a lot of obstacles. In case you don't story, it's a great story for Orlando. It's a sad story. His mother, Vicki Renee Johnson, was murdered when Orlando was age 1. He lived with his grandmother for 10 years, then she passed away. There was another tragedy with family members in a house that burned, and some other relatives died. And then you see his brothers right there, Jamel and Robbie. They took in Orlando. He lived with one of them during his junior high years. He lived with the other one during his high school years. They're the ones who made sure that he stayed focused and basically raised him, Mark.
I asked Orlando today what he learned from Jamel and Robbie, and he said what it takes to be a man. He's got the picture of his mother's grave on his phone that reminds him of his heritage every day. Last Sunday was his mother's birthday. Both brothers went to their mother's grave to honor her. Orlando Johnson, Jamel, and Robbie Johnson, congratulations on raising one fine young man.
Jamel played football at St. Mary's, and he was sort of like the life coach. Taught him how to, as we look at the record breaker, taught him how to dress, taught him how to speak, taught him how to be a man. And then Robbie was a basketball player himself, and he used to go one-on-one against Orlando in the backyard, and he wouldn't let Orlando win. He said, no, you got to get better, and I'm going to help you get better.
I asked him if he had 2 minutes to live, and he could only make one phone call, who would he call?
Tough question.
He said, Coach, it'd have to be a 3-way call. Jamel and Robbie, I wouldn't let him down.
At one point, the brothers felt like, well, Orlando needs to go to a private high school. So they worked overtime to make extra money so they could afford to send Orlando to a private high school so that he could get better prepared academically for college. Had to work overtime. They had their own families. They had their own kids, but they sacrificed to make their younger brother better.
You know, both brothers successful in their own right. Jamel, manager for the Pepsi Bottling Company, and Robbie works at the Naval Postgrad School. Both very successful individuals in their own right.
So the Gauchos, a 3-point lead, 5 minutes into this Big West Conference game. Great to have you with us live from Santa Barbara inside the Thunderdome. This is their leading scorer, Hansen. Nice move inside. He can score inside or outside.
In the scouting report on Santa Barbara's defense, people feel that they can get into gaps and then they can make plays. Oftentimes Santa Barbara is good for a few passes, and then they tend to play with their hands down at their sides, which creates passing angles and penetration gaps.
Great pass by Nunnally to find Serna, and he finishes inside. There is an open gap in that Cal Poly zone there. Been impressed with the way that Johnson and Nunnally have passed the basketball in the early stages of this game.
You know, they're both very unselfish, and that's been the success and the hallmark of a Bob Williams coach basketball team.
Cal Poly was 1 of 5 to begin the game from the field, but they've made 4 of their last 5. Furman over the 7'3" Samoji, the high archer.
And that just shouldn't happen. When you get into a gap, get into the paint like that, there should be hands everywhere. And if there's one constructive critical comment I'd have about Santa Barbara's defense, if they can improve in that area, I think they become a lot more stingy defensively.
This is Nate Garth with the basketball. He's in at point guard now. Point guard has been a work in progress for the Gauchos this year. Garth with the penetration, can't finish with the left hand, and it's rebounded by Donahue.
See the active hands?
Yeah.
Cal Poly went up and challenged the shot right there. Really makes a difference when you play fingertip to fingertip, wingspan defense. Watch the next time the ball gets in the gap. See if the defense reacts and see hand placement. There it is.
And Hansen going right at the 7'3" Samoji, but it goes out of bounds. It'll be Gaucho basketball.
Samoji, number 55 in gray, can really change the game. We talk about wingspan. And he's 7'3". Probably has about a 7'1", 7'2" wingspan. Just by playing with his hands up consistently and a little bit of anticipation, he can change the game. And some NBA teams going to take a flyer on him because of his ability to run and catch it.
Let me ask you this. At 7'3", he doesn't face anyone close to his size in this conference. Would his skill set look better at the next level?
No question, because I've coached a 7'3" kid and a 7'2" kid. When they're matched up against the other big kids, they look a lot better.
And draining the three for the Gauchos is Kyle Boswell. He's now made 14 of his last 23 three-point attempts. That's why he's in the game.
Plus 40% from three. He gives a lot of energy off the bench, can really shoot it.
This is Malik Love who checked in. That one rims out. And a big Samoji comes down with the rebound.
Samoji challenged that shot. Well done by the big fella.
Catch and shoot Orlando from well beyond the arc. Perhaps trying to show his NBA range. And he gets fouled as he's on his way up. And he'll go to the line to shoot two. You know, speaking of the NBA, Mark, for Orlando Johnson, he initially declared for the NBA draft after his junior season. And when we talked to him earlier today, he said he was really on the fence about it. He wasn't sure which way to go, but factoring the lockout, and he was not guaranteed to be drafted. He might have been a second-round pick. And most importantly, to go back to his brothers, they said, we want you to get your degree. And he said it was the best decision he made to return for his senior year.
Well, it turned into a very long offseason for Orlando Johnson between the NBA camp and then USA Basketball. And so it has been physically demanding for him, and at times they felt like he may be a little bit tired, but he's getting his second win now. And he will get his degree in sociology. He'd like to teach and coach someday. He'd make a great one.
Yeah, I love how he said that he's given teachers enough grief over the years that he feels like he's got it coming to him that he should be able to teach kids one day. Eversley is fouled by the big Samoji, and so he'll shoot two. And the foul's actually going to go against Christian Peterson, a former walk-on, who has earned a scholarship. Eversley spent his freshman year at Rice. Sat out last season. He's now a sophomore for Cal Poly, redshirt sophomore. And he's really come on lately. He scored just 52 points in his last 15 games, but he's had double-digit scoring 10 of his last 13 games.
He was not a starter early in the season, but he's been very, very consistent. Cal Poly now matching up out of the zone.
This is Peterson. Johnson inside. Good idea for the give and go. And there's going to be another foul called against Cal Poly. So for the Gauchos, a 5-point lead as we go to break. And when we come back, UC Santa Barbara, they're tournament tested. What's the story about them? Why were they jumping up and down? We'll tell you when we come back from this break. As we look back on the Big West Championship 2 years ago down at the Anaheim Convention Center, it was Orlando Johnson. He scored 20 points as the Gauchos defeated Long Beach State 69-64. They celebrated and they went dancing in the NCAA tournament. Then last year, down in Anaheim again, this time at the Honda Center, Bob Williams' team once again. This time they were a 5th seed, but they did it again. Orlando Johnson, the steal, the basket, 23 points. He was tournament MVP for 2 straight years as the Gauchos upset Long Beach State. And the storyline going into this year's brackets, will lightning strike 3 years in a row for UC Santa Barbara? Mark, if the Big West tournament started right now, what do you think? We know Long Beach State, #1 seed, undefeated right now. What are the 2 teams that have the best chance of knocking them down?
Obviously, I like Santa Barbara. They've proven it in the past. And this team right here, Bob Burton's Cal State Fullerton. When you talk about offensive firepower, Kwame Vaughn can load it up, knock down the 3-ball. Amande Amoki can play inside very, very strong. And Isaiah Umapig, who absolutely torched this Santa Barbara defense when they played over in Fullerton earlier. That is a dangerous basketball team under Bob Burton.
Gauchos with the basketball coming out of the timeout. A nice feed inside and finishing is James Nunnally on the nice pass from Nate Garth.
Nunnally actually slipped behind the backboard and came up into the gap. That's how he created his vision.
A long 3 is missed by Johnson. Sinobji the rebound, and the Gauchos want to run again. Good job by the Cal Poly defense. Gauchos set it up. Boswell, a dangerous three-point shooter.
Suchon makes a big target in there. I like the look.
And he gets fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot a couple of free throws.
Watch how James Nunley gets deep. He's literally underneath the backboard and then steps to the ball. What does that do? It allows him to have superior vision versus the defender. A defender's not going to basically guard a guy that's nearly out of bounds. He comes from low right into that gap. Well executed.
Suchon hasn't shot a lot of free throws this year. That was just his 19th on the season. He's now 11 of 19. He actually has a very nice touch. He worked with Don Ford, who's a former Gaucho. Now he does radio analysis here for UC Santa Barbara. He played for the Lakers and he played for the Cavs. And Suchon worked with Don Ford every day for a month in the summer to try and get better.
I think he changes the game defensively. He's got really good hands. In fact, I think offensively, he could be utilized even more. He's a big target.
Yeah, when I talked to Don Ford about him, he said that he really likes him from as far out as 17 feet. Turnover there, you don't see many of those from Cal Poly. And so the Gauchos with a 7-point lead and a chance to extend on this possession. Garth with the basketball, spent 2 years at New Mexico before transferring to UC Santa Barbara. That's him there with the ball again. Not only from the baseline. Couldn't get that one to go down, but look at the hustle by Cerna and Williams. It goes out of bounds, and Cal Poly will take over.
Well, now for Cal Poly, stay with your game plan. Stay patient against the defense. Without Suchon in there to change shots, you can become better attacking the gaps against this smaller defense.
An open three, and missing that time was Royer, for the offensive rebound by Hansen.
Joe Calera really enforced today with his team. Get the ball inside, play inside-out basketball. When they're settling for jump shots like that, not nearly as effective in their half-court sets.
Nunley's been really active grabbing rebounds so far this game. He just added another. He's got back-to-back double-doubles. They were trying to go for an alley-oop there, didn't quite get it. This is Peterson blocked from behind. But Nunley is there with the off-balance shot, and James Nunley having quite an impressive first half.
In a word, versatile. James Nunley, number 21 in gray.
Hansen for three. They needed that, no good, but a good rebound by Taylor. A second opportunity for the Mustangs.
And when was the last time Cal Poly got a touch in the paint? It's been a long time.
It's a 9-1 run for the Gauchos right now. There's a touch in the paint. But not a good shooting spot, obviously. No whistles. Play on. James Nunley says, slow things down. Let's set up our offense. And Nunley's feeling it. He's calling for a high ball screen.
Boy, we saw his ability to play on the baseline. Now he's playing up at the point against the zone, a distributor. That's a little bit of everything.
A three and the foul for Kyle Boswell. He's now made 15 of his last 24 threes.
And he's not afraid to take and make big shots. Competitor right there in Kyle Boswell. He had big threes versus Pacific and UC Davis. This kid, when he comes off the bench, something's going to happen. Usually it's pretty good if it's from behind the arc.
He's a sophomore from Huntington Beach. Battled a leg injury last year and played in just 21 games. He's also banged up in his junior and senior years in high school, but he converts the 4-point play in the Gauchos with a 13-point lead here in the early going.
Santa Barbara has been very impressive here early. Good double.
And the timeout is called by Will Taylor. That was really his only option. So Cal Poly has missed 7 shots in a row, and this might be one of those times, Mark, that Cal Poly has to talk about, like, what they're going to do to try and get back into this. But first, let's say about Sunday night. ESPNU is your home for ACC basketball. This week, bitter rivals collide as Florida State battles Miami at 6 Eastern. ACC Sunday night basketball presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups as part of Judgment Week is on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. For UC Santa Barbara, this crowd is excited just to watch their team. They haven't played a whole lot of home games, just their second home game in 35 days, Mark.
Yeah, they played 7 out of 8 away from home during that stretch. And now get to come home and watch their leading scorer show off his skills here tonight in Santa Barbara and Orlando Johnson.
It's a very interesting schedule for the Gauchos. They played their first 6 at home, then they played 0 home games in December. And it worked out great. Cerna grabs the rebound that they were able to watch Orlando Johnson get the record right here at home. And another 3, this time by James Nunnally.
Secondary offense right there out of the 94-foot situation, and James Nunnally sprinted to that wing side and lost his defender.
12 points for Nunnally, including back-to-back threes.
And Santa Barbara just stingy defensively here.
Hansen is able to score 2. That's their first made shot after missing 7 in a row, and that'll temporarily quiet this Thunderdome crowd.
They finally got into a gap, able to make a play from the baseline position.
And he's serving from the baseline, and right now the Gauchos can't miss.
And Orlando Johnson taking over point guard duties, gets to the gap and makes the play. Well, he's got strength, size, and vision, and anticipation. I think if he plays the next level, he could play the point guard position. Difficult time defending at the point guard position in the NBA, but I think he's got offensive skills enough to do it.
Taylor, the tough shot won't go down. And it's going to be Gauchos basketball. So far, as we have 7 minutes left in the first half, it's been all UC Santa Barbara. James Nunnally on fire. Orlando Johnson distributing the basketball. It's all Gauchos so far. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by 21 Jump Street, in theaters March 16th, rated R.
ACC Sunday Night Basketball.
Here inside the Thunderdome on the campus of UC Santa Barbara, it's been all Gauchos, 34-18 the score here, Mark. And if you're Cal Poly's head coach, Joe Claro, what do they need to do to try and stop the momentum here of the Gauchos?
Well, first on the offensive end, not just move the basketball, but aggressively get into gaps and make plays like they did early in this basketball game. Not just settle for jump shots, but if you're going to get jump shots, inside-out jump shots. And defensively, you got to focus on James Nunnally now. Orlando Johnson certainly distributing, but Nunnally doing a lot of damage. Number 21 for Santa Barbara, doing a lot of damage in their half-court sets.
Cal Poly 7 of 21 from the field. Gauchos have 9 assists on 12 made field goals. No foul call there. I think Williams wanted it as he misses that shot. Royer quickly in transition. That's how you get back in the game.
He has such a quick release. I mean, that is a quick draw in 94-foot. He got his feet set, hands ready, locked and cocked that thing in milliseconds. Very well executed.
Johnson winning the points again. Trying to force that pass. Taylor the steal. Eversley the 3. And Cerna lost it, and it'll be a second opportunity for Cal Poly.
Cal Poly being a lot more aggressive in 94 feet now, really trying to push it up, get some early looks against that defense before it sets up in their matchup zone.
This is Royer once again. Royer's only attempted 28 two-pointers this year. But when he shoots threes, he's very deadly.
He's open now. Get it to him.
Furman goes high off the glass, can't get the roll, but the putback by Will Taylor.
Well, I like that possession. They moved the ball to and fro, got into a gap. Cal Poly's best sequence has been over the last minute and a half.
Not only facing up, tough shot, Hansen the rebound. Now a chance for Cal Poly to score on 3 straight possessions.
I just feel like this team has tremendous team intelligence. There's Royer.
And you can't leave him wide open. He's got quite the range, and Bob Williams does not like that at all. A 10-2 run for Cal Poly as they cut the lead to 34-26.
Against the zone, Cal Poly has come out much more aggressive. Ball movement from left hand to right hand. They know Royal could shoot it, so he gives it up for the extra pass. Furman off the glass. I like the penetration, which allows the backside offensive board work. And then Royer, scouting report is, get out on him. Don't let him shoot. Nobody within sight of Royer, and Dylan Royer would be 9th in the country from the three-point line if he had enough volume from that level.
Royer's got 12 points, all on threes, and when we watched the end of the shoot-around for UC Santa Barbara, and their coaches were going over the scouting report, and they said, what's the story with 13, Dylan Royer? And all the Gaucho players said, can't leave him open.
Can't leave him open.
Three-point shooter. Left him open, though.
He's the only local guy from that area, and this kid is extremely well-skilled.
He went to Morro Bay High School in Los Osos, 16 miles from his high school campus to his college campus.
Pretty easy commute.
Parents kind of like that, so they can watch him play.
Well, he's matched up with Nunley, and Nunley really wants to get him on the block a little bit, get him in the mid-range area because of the size advantage.
And he's Cerner with the half hook. Taylor another rebound.
Well, the great thing about having a Dylan Royer is that the defense has to extend. And then you get to expand and contract through passing in the post, through dribble penetration. When you expand and contract the defense, eventually it cracks.
The Gauchos switch back to man-to-man here?
They match up a lot out of their zones. They're in 2-3 zone right now. They're just matching up with green jerseys.
Hansen goes up and under, tries to finish with the left, but another putback by Will Taylor has been very active on the glass.
And again, when you get the ball toward the paint on the right-hand side and put a shot up, that left-hand offensive glass work.
It's now a 12-2 run for the Mustangs. Now it's a critical possession for the Gauchos.
I would expect to see Orlando Johnson get a touch here. There he is.
Accidentally got one. Let's see what he does with it. Step back three with a man right in his face. Tough shot.
Sometimes you don't need to run offense. You just need to give it to your best player and say, make a play, Orlando Johnson.
There's a point guard, Furman, trying to make a play. He loses it on the way up. So Orlando Johnson willing his way.
Joe Calero thinks it was a two-pointer. So we're going to take a look at it. Right here, Orlando Johnson steps back, and Joe Calero says the right foot was on the line. We'll let you know when we come back.
That's Orlando Johnson. He just hit a three as we went to commercial break as UC Santa Barbara pumps its lead back up to 9. The question was, Mark Adams, was it a 2 or a 3?
And the official right behind Orlando Johnson immediately puts his arm up for the three-point call, so it's called a 3 on the court. Joe Calero, who's off to the left of the screen, had also a good angle, the coach for Cal Poly, and he started yelling immediately that he thought it was a 2, but I don't know that we've got an angle.
The last one that we looked at was the better one. It was still hard to tell from that one. And it will be a 3, yeah. That would be tough to overturn that because it's definitely not definitive. And it looked like there was a little bit of space between Johnson's foot and the three-point arc.
But how about the strength of Orlando Johnson to step back beyond the three-point line and make it look easy? And that was nothing but net. This kid has tremendous strength. That's what differentiates him. He's got good quickness. He's got good anticipation. I like the fact that he can actually move away from the basket, still be balanced under control, and knock down shots.
Well, you don't become the all-time leading scorer in your school's history unless you can score from a variety of ways, inside and outside. And he's a guy who didn't have great mechanics as a shooter. In fact, Bob Williams, when he saw him in high school, he didn't think that he was that great of a shooter. But when Bob had a second opportunity to recruit him, after Orlando decided to transfer away from Loyola Marymount, he was impressed with how Orlando had changed his shooting stroke. And then during the year that he had to sit out as a transfer, they really worked on his mechanics more. And now he has very good form. So Amari Furman at the free throw line. He gets 1 of 2. And a chance for UC Santa Barbara to get the lead back up to double digits.
Well, Nunley with that size advantage, then Johnson coming off the screen, just tough to defend. Illegal screen by Cerna.
So that wipes out the 3 made by Johnson. A well-executed play, but the illegal screen wipes it out. They were called for a couple of those Wednesday against Long Beach State, which might have been momentum shifts. You think you've made a 3, but instead it gets wiped out on the foul.
You know what, though, I used to set a goal with my teams to have at least 1 illegal screen called per game.
Is that right?
You know why? Because then I knew they were aggressive setting those screens.
Taylor misses his second chance, no good. Another tip, a 4th opportunity, and it goes down by David Hansen.
The bottom line is you got to be physical. You got to be willing to stick your nose into a guy and set a screen. I'd rather be over physical and dial it down than be soft and try to dial it up.
This is the freshman, TJ Taylor. Going inside to Cerna.
Backside's wide open.
Tough shot by Johnson. He gets the foul call, and Cal Poly is irate on their bench. Take another look at it here, Mark.
Verticality, 33 in green. Does he stand his ground, Eversley? He is vertical right there. If anything, Orlando Johnson caused that contact. That's either a no call or an offensive foul. No, I don't think that's an offensive foul. I think that's a no call.
In fact, I could just hear through my headphones. Joe Clare said you have to officiate the game, not the players. Well, sometimes when your score as often as Orlando Johnson, you get those calls. And he converts 1 of the 2. Orlando has 11 points right now.
And Cal Poly keeps nibbling away, doing a much better job of execution in their half-court sets.
Furman loses the handle. The freshman Allen Williams comes down with it.
Well, this is a team that just does not turn the ball over very often.
A long 3. That one won't go down. Do you like that look?
I like the pace for Cal Poly right now. I think they've controlled this last 5-minute segment.
Under 2 minutes remain in the first half. The Gauchos led by 16 at one point. 7 on the shot clock. Hansen gets his man in the air, misses that mid-range jumper. The UC Santa Barbara basketball.
When Santa Barbara is hitting on all cylinders, we know about the prolific scoring of Orlando Johnson. James Nunley was the loudest offensive player in this building early in the game. He hasn't gotten consistent touches. Good job of defensively making adjustments by Cal Poly. They're getting very physical with Nunley here.
Baseline jumper, tough shot, knocks it down.
Right on cue.
James Nunley with 14 points tonight. He's gone over 20 points 5 times this year. He could be headed for a 6th tonight. Taylor gets blocked by Nunnally. And the Gauchos want to run. They do not have numbers. And Nate Garth will slow it down. Nunnally wants it. And a good rebound by Dylan Royer. 5-on-4 here as Williams is late getting back into defense. Cal Poly can't take advantage.
Well, good job of the 4 jerseys getting back for Santa Barbara, taking away that initial thrust.
About a 6-second differential between shot clock and game clock.
Remember, Dylan Royer, number 13 in green. He's the long-range bomber. There he is.
Well-designed play, but he just barely got rim. Another 3, that one just gets rim as well. Still time for the Gauchos. Orlando Johnson. Almost. Entertaining first half from UC Santa Barbara. Orlando Johnson becomes the all-time leading scorer in UC Santa Barbara history. James Nunnally scores 14 points, our halftime score. UC Santa Barbara 43, Cal Poly 31. Now let's send it to Anish Shuroff and Miles Simon with our Sports Center U halftime report.
All right, then.
It's halftime here at the Thunderdome on the campus of UC Santa Barbara. The Gauchos have led the whole way. They led by 16 at one point, and it's a 9-point lead as we get ready for the second half. Now let's take a look at the ESPNU major moment, Mark.
Orlando Johnson, an historic night in Santa Barbara as he becomes the #1 scorer in Gaucho history. Orlando Johnson.
A very long 3 to do it. He passes Alex Harris, who had 4 years to compile 1,696 points. He does it in just 3 years. And welcome once again inside the Thunderdome. Great to have you with us, and it's been an exciting first half, and the 2 guys who normally get it done for the Gauchos have been getting it done tonight.
Well, Orlando Johnson, we saw his ability to knock down the 3 ball. James Nunnally in the full court situation has been extremely effective for this Gaucho offense.
So let's go inside the play to see how he was able to get open for one of those 3s.
Secondary offense by the Gauchos. James Nunnally right in the middle of the paint along with everybody else. He runs the left-hand side in the full court break of the Gauchos. Watch what happens defensively. Defenders sprint back. Watch. All looking directly at the ball. And look at Nunnally along the baseline as he comes out to the open spot. He recognizes the lack of vision. He comes to the open spot, shapes up, ripcords it from 3. Secondary offense, Gaucho style.
Well, they've scored 25 of the 40 points for UC Santa Barbara, and that's been the story for the Gauchos the last 2 years. They know those 2 guys will score. A lot of times the question is, who's the 3rd offensive threat in the Gaucho lineup? But tonight, so far, they've just needed those 2 mostly.
On Cal Poly, they came into this game taking great care of the basketball, only a little bit over 10 turnovers per game, only 3 turnovers in the first half. But Josh, I like the way they attacked the zone. They were more in attack mode like this, taking the ball off the dribble to attack the basket late in the first half.
So Amari Furman will get himself to the free throw line.
I thought Cal Poly was a little bit soft attacking the zone for about an 8-minute segment, and that's when Santa Barbara exerted their will. Then Joe Calero called a timeout, challenged his team. They've been much more physical and aggressive since that point.
Furman hits the first of 2. He's a senior from the Bronx. Transferred from Hagerstown College in Maryland. Converts both, and it's a good start for the Mustangs. Familiar defense for Cal Poly.
Open up in man-to-man. They're really wanting to get Nunnally looks over the shorter defender Royer, and he gets the look.
Cal Poly with a chance to run here. They don't run very often, but they'll look for certain opportunities to run.
Well, the reason they're running, they want to get down before that defense, that zone gets settled.
The drive and the kick out. You see a lot of attention on Royer here. And a good idea, but Eversley just couldn't hold on to it. I think he might have been looking at the rim before he caught the ball on that sequence.
Well, take what the defense gives you. You're right, Josh. A lot of attention on number 13 in green, Royer. What does that do? Opens up backside cuts to the paint.
Just the 4th turnover for Cal Poly. You mentioned it at the top of the broadcast about how good they are protecting the ball. And again, that's just their 4th turnover.
And number 13 in the country. They cherish the basketball.
Johnson off the screen. He'll try a 3. And we're going to have a whistle inside as they're fighting for possession. And the foul's going to be against Will Taylor. Now Nunley will set up the offense for the Gauchos. This is TJ Taylor, the freshman from Oakland, now to Nunley. He's really tough inside.
That's the game plan. They feel like they've got a size advantage inside against Royer. Nunley can go down the block. Look for Joe Calero to make a defensive adjustment, start doubling Nunley down low.
He's 6'7", 205. That's a tough matchup. A tough miss by Hansen. Saved by Taylor, and here comes Johnson.
Nunley down low again. He's just working Royer over on the right-hand block. They want to get him paint touches because he's got the size advantage. There he is again.
Here comes the
There's
double.
the double.
Taylor has to be able to knock it down, and can't make that one. But Williams, the offensive rebound. And Will Taylor with the defensive rebound for Cal Poly. A lot of times that's been the story for UC Santa Barbara the last 2 years. When the double comes for Nunley or Johnson, is there a 3rd option who can score? And that would be an easy 2 for Will Taylor.
And that's why you don't save the ball underneath your opponent's basket. Pretty simple, but you see it a lot.
Taylor now has 9 points, playing very effectively inside for Cal Poly.
What's really neat about Santa Barbara's offense? They can invert. Orlando Johnson can go down the block. Nunley can go down the block. When you can take your perimeter guys and move them down the block, it gives you a lot of options.
Alan Williams, just the freshman, is able to score with the left hand there. So Cal Poly just hanging around here, down by 9. Again, the Gauchos have led the entire way. Furman is stripped by Johnson.
Good hustle back.
And they couldn't get the ball to Johnson quick enough. Now we have a timeout that's going to be called by Cal Poly. Joe Calero saw something right there. So James Nunley inside, working it down low for the Gauchos. He's been a big threat, and when we come back, we'll give you the numbers that you need to know about the Big West. Again, the tournament coming up in 12 days. Mark will tell you what you need to know next. All right, Mark, we teased it. What are the numbers we need to know about the Big West?
Number 1, Long Beach State, non-conference strength of schedule, a critical evaluation element for NCAA participation. Number 5 teams in Division I undefeated. One of those teams, Long Beach State, out of the Big West Conference. Number 11, Long Beach State projected seed, according to Joe Lunardi. Right now he has them as the number 41 team, which puts them on the 11 seed line for NCAA tournament berth.
And so as we look at those teams that are unbeaten, obviously, Long Beach State, and here's the other 4.
And Kentucky at 14-0, Mississippi Valley State out of SWAC at 16-0, Texas Arlington out of Southland, and Utah Valley out of the Great West. The Great West does not have an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament.
Long Beach State has really been a team on a mission once they got into conference play. They won the regular season last year, but they lost in the conference tournament final to this Gaucho team, and they've really been a team on a mission to make sure that they finally get to the NCAA tournament with all those seniors on that team.
Yeah, I think they're one of the top 10 non-Power 6 teams in the country.
Well, Donahue missing, but fighting and gets the second chance. Hits the deck, but he's going to go to the line and shoot 2. So as we head to timeout, UC Santa Barbara, the 9-point lead here in Santa Barbara. Orlando Johnson looking for the Gauchos.
Wendy.
It's ESPNU Judgment Week, and UC Santa Barbara, the 9-point lead early in the second half. On Sunday, the top two women's basketball teams in the SEC take the court on ESPNU. First at 1:30 Eastern, SEC leading Kentucky takes on Mississippi State. Then at 3:30 Eastern, Tennessee tries to keep pace with Kentucky as they host Florida. The home court of college hoops as part of Judgment Week on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on ESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. Will Donahue at the free throw line for Cal Poly. It's really been an injury-plagued season. He's been battling an Achilles injury all year. They tried to sit him out for 3 weeks to see if it would improve, and it wasn't getting any better, and finally Will said to Joe Claro, look, I just have to fight my way through this. Right ankle taped up a little bit. He was really a double-double machine last year for Cal Poly.
He was described as an anchor on both offense and defense.
Last year, he averaged 8.9 rebounds per game, 4th best in the Big West, 49th best in the country, but he hasn't been able to play a whole lot because of that injury.
He's really physical.
Johnson rims out, but Jaime Serna, who's been quiet tonight, the offensive rebound and a chance to score 2 from the free throw line.
Serna's a quick jumper. That's the reason why he's effective on the offensive glass. He anticipates well, and he's quick off his feet.
Serna averages just under 9 points a game, almost 5 rebounds. So he hits that free throw. Talking about the Big West tournament coming up in 12 days. Last year, he was on the Big West all-tournament team. Averaged 12 points, 7.3 rebounds in those 3 games. And they're going to need Serna.
Well, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get Nunley, you're going to get Johnson. You know those two guys are going to score. Serna's a guy that's got to help this team offensively. And I think Alan Williams, another guy at 6'7", 240. He's another big fella that can really make a difference in the paint.
Nice shot by Amari Furman inside.
Cal Poly keeps hanging around. Right now, they're just a threat. Are they a contender? Can they win on their rivals' home floor tonight?
Orlando Johnson going to the fadeaway, the high archer. And there's Alan Williams, the freshman that you like so much. Missed that one, but now another opportunity. Nice footwork there. Oh, my! .6'7", 240, and he looked like a point guard the way that he scored.
He just stays with this play. He shoots it up, goes and gets it again. Regathers, goes to the backside, uses the backboard and puts it down. Athletic. Alan Williams at 6'7", 240. A huge upside for this young man.
He was the Arizona State Player of the Year last year at North High School in Phoenix. Was not recruited by U of A or Arizona State. Bob Williams loved him. He especially loved when he saw him running in transition in high school and he took a low pass around his ankles and he was able to come up with it and score all in one motion. That's when Williams knew this was a great athlete.
If Alan Williams dedicates himself in the offseason and becomes physically bigger and stronger, he's already huge. He is going to be a big difference maker here in Santa Barbara. Remember that name, Alan Williams from Santa Barbara.
This crowd loves him too. He's a real energetic guy, always has a big smile on his face. He has given the Gauchos a 10-point lead.
Santa Barbara now extends in their 3-man front out of the 3-2 zone.
Furman gets Johnson in the air. Nice job by Johnson to get the block, and now Nunley will slow it up. Saw the athleticism as he got faked out, but then he got him on the second time, bouncing down and back up to get the block.
But what a luxury when you got Johnson willing to pass it, can post up on the block.
Serna step back. And we're going to have a foul against James Christian Peterson of UC Santa Barbara. So the official says that he hooked Cal Poly. On Sunday night, ESPNU is your home for ACC basketball. This week, bitter rivals collide as Florida State battles Miami at 6 Eastern. ACC Sunday night basketball presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups as part of Judgment Week on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com.
Some order being restored in the ACC now with Duke and North Carolina now at the top. So Florida State, one of those ball clubs that's made a lot of noise in the ACC this year.
This is Hansen, their leading scorer. He hits the three. David Hansen, the senior out of Plymouth, Minnesota.
I like Joe Calero's team. Got a lot of grit to him.
Now a foul against James Nunnally.
Well, Joe Calero's a guy. He's coached at the junior college level. He played at the small college level. He coached at Puget Sound and ushered Seattle to the Division I level. I think he's a great overachiever type coach. He brings guys in, develops their game, teaches them to play as a team, and together they're better as a team.
This is Nate Garth. Down to Nunnally. They fake the double team there. Now they come after him.
Interesting how they're doubling him only after he really makes a move toward the basket. He could settle for that little mid-range jump over the smaller defender.
And Garth knocking down the three. And again, that's what they need. Someone else who can knock down shots when Johnson and Nunnally get double teamed.
Garth, known as a gifted passer, but struggles at times offensively. Huge plus for Santa Barbara.
Only a 22% three-point shooter, but he drains that one to give the Gauchos lead back up to 10. Hansen the drive. Good defense.
Got a mismatch inside. They recognize Donahue. They switch back to Cerna. There's Donahue.
5 on the shot clock. Cleared by Peterson. And that's going to be a blocking foul.
When you've got size, you can see over defenders and hit the open man. And Nate Garth knocks it down from Orlando Johnson. It started on the backside with Nunnally getting the double team, which allowed the rotation to be a little bit late. Garth knocks it down. That is a big plus for Bob Williams.
I'm sure for Nate Garth, a pretty big game for him. He's a guy who they expected to be the starting point guard, but he lost the starting job to TJ Taylor, the freshman. So he's trying to earn back minutes as we get down the stretch here.
This is a big defensive possession right here for Cal Poly. They need a stop.
Orlando Johnson drains the three. Another tough shot.
Cal Poly did a lot of things right defensively in that possession. But when you got a guy with NBA skills like Orlando Johnson, sometimes those guys just make plays.
So the lead is now 13, and there's a steal by Johnson. The breakaway, and the easy two.
I hate that call.
It's going to be a technical against Orlando Johnson.
I understand why they call it. I get it. I just can't stand the call.
Now the question is, was he protecting himself by hanging onto the rim? He didn't hang on to the rim very long.
Not very long. His feet came out a little bit. I mean, the officials have to call it because that's how they're held accountable. They're evaluated that way. I'd like to see more common sense. When you got to legislate common sense, then something's wrong. These officials are veteran enough. They know when a guy's showboating and when he's just playing.
We'll take one more look at Orlando Johnson.
Boy, jumps that route. That's just anticipation right there.
So the Gauchos lead is back up to 15 with 11.5 remaining here from Santa Barbara's Thunderdome.
Duke highlights a Tuesday night doubleheader on
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by 21 Jump Street, in theaters March 16th, rated R. UC Santa Barbara, the 57-42 lead over Cal Poly. Coming into this game, Mark, we knew that it was important for the Gauchos to continue winning, but as we look at some of the scores from around the Big West tonight, it becomes even more important when we look at these standings.
On Fullerton tonight, now at 10-4, Santa Barbara with a victory tonight can tie for that #2 seed. And of course, Cal Poly fighting Pacific Riverside for that #4 seed.
So Cal State Fullerton losing earlier tonight, so they now have 4 losses, tied with Santa Barbara. And again, here's the scores. Long Beach State winning easily, and Fullerton upset at Pacific.
What a job Jim Les has done at Davis, keeping that team together and then closing it out the right way. Jim Les is one heck of a basketball coach. He's going to get that Davis program moving in the right direction. And the early returns here late in the season are pretty positive for Jim Les and Davis. David
Hansen hits the 2 technical free throws, and we got a clarification during our commercial break about what the technical was for.
It was a Class B technical, and so two free throws, and they'll take it out at the point where it took place, so it's Cal Poly's ball.
And it was because Johnson hit the backboard with his hands,
right,
not necessarily the hanging onto the rim. Eversley can't get that one to go down, but a nice offensive rebound by Malik Love. And draining the 3 is Kyle Audister. They needed that one. Cuts it back down to 10.
They really did. But this team just continues to compete. The way that they play, the way they can control tempo, the way they're stingy defensively and take care of the basketball, it'll be a very difficult out in the Big West tournament.
7 on the shot clock. Garth will have to create. And it's going to be a turnover for UC Santa Barbara.
Well, that is good defense. And, you know, Cal Poly had possession of the basketball, and the shot clock went off, and then the whistle came, which really didn't allow Cal Poly to get out in the 94-foot situation. They had that ball before the shot clock violation.
Joe Clara wasn't happy either. He wanted his team to be able to run the court, get something in transition, perhaps.
It's a good thing the officials didn't call that an inadvertent whistle. It would have been a jump ball and change of possession.
Nearly back-to-back threes by Audister. And now one of the officials is going to overrule the other and say this is Cal Poly basketball. And on the dead ball, 3 of starters for UC Santa Barbara will come back. Nunnally, Cerna, and Big Allen Williams will return. So 4 of the 5 starters on the court for the Gauchos.
Cal Poly has been attacking this zone off the dribble, usually from the wing to the baseline. I might see something over the top, straight from the gap, especially as the ball moves.
Donahue missing, great defense by Allen Williams. And now with a 10-point lead and 9.5 minutes left, UC Santa Barbara will be patient offensively.
Well, now late in possession, you don't want Garth in a situation where he has to go one-on-one. You want Nunnally to make that decision. 21, there he is.
Backing in, rising, and getting the roll.
That's smart. He doesn't have to necessarily attack the rim. He's got a size advantage. He can see over the defender from 10 feet.
Nunnally has 18 points tonight.
Well, if you reverse the ball quickly the backside, that gap right there between point and wing.
A block by Williams. A 1-on-3 now, but here comes the help. And the Gauchos will set it up.
Well, for Bob Williams, pretty simple. Get to Nunley again.
And here he is. A nice dish. Williams. 2-on-1, and Eversley is able to finish. That was a big possession there. Looked like Williams is going in for 2. Instead, 4-point swing as Eversley's able to convert.
Every time you feel like Cal Poly is going to get blown out, it just doesn't happen. They come up with the next play, the next play.
Foul's called against Malik Love.
Well, with Fullerton losing, this becomes a big opportunity for Santa Barbara. Remember, Santa Barbara, back-to-back Big West tournament champions, back-to-back NCAA tournament bids. And who'd they beat? Long Beach State. Who's undefeated in conference? Long Beach State this year.
And another blocking foul against Cal Poly. Wouldn't that be something 3 years in a row if UC Santa Barbara can pull it off? Well, it is Oscar weekend as UC Santa Barbara with the 10-point lead. And when we come back, Mark Adams is going to give us his picks for the all Big West first team. I can't wait to hear these. Tomorrow night, that's the site of the Oscars. Just down 101 in Los Angeles and Hollywood. And now the coach, Mark Adams, is going to give us his selections, the top 5, the nominees, if you will. Coach Adams for the all Big West first team.
It was an honor to come down the red carpet with you tonight, Josh. And there's the all Big West team. Orlando Johnson, Casper Ware goes 0 to 60 as well as anybody in the country. Larry Anderson, TJ Robinson, and Amandi Amoke. And my choice for Big West Player of the Year, Larry Anderson, right there. Right? That is my choice for Big West Player of the Year. He's number 8 score, number 4 in field goal percentage, number 7 in assists, number 3 in three-point percentage, number 6 in the Big West in assist to turnover ratio, and in my view, the best rangy defender, not just in the Big West, but he's one of the top 5 defenders in the country.
Not going with Orlando Johnson?
Most inspirational.
Most inspirational.
Casper Ware, best supporting.
Well, it would be interesting because 2 years ago as a sophomore, Orlando Johnson won the Player of the Year. Last year as a junior, Casper Ware beat out Orlando Johnson for Player of the Year. And you're saying it's going to stay down in Long Beach.
I think Larry Anderson changes the game. And the coaches in this league that I talk to, they admire his ability, not only to do all the little things, he scores, he passes, but he defends so well. Dan Monson has the luxury of putting a great defender on an Orlando Johnson every night, on a guy like Kwame Vaughn every night. He can defend 4 different positions, 1 through 4. And I'm kind of a defensive-focused guy. That's why I picked Larry Anderson. I think he's the best defender and an all-around offensive gifted player.
I'd like to hear his acceptance speech.
Who do you like? Who are you leading to?
I like the guy we've seen tonight who became the all-time scorer in UC Santa Barbara history.
Most inspirational, no question.
Although it is hard to go against anyone from Long Beach State, undefeated in their league, and the way that they've taken it to UC Santa Barbara twice this year. It's kind of hard not to pick someone from that team. I like that you're going against the grain, though, because the easy pick would be Casper Ware.
Well, if you're picking offense, Orlando Johnson would be your guy. If you're picking 94-foot offense and also the ability to anticipate, get steals, Casper Ware would be your guy. But to me, I'm looking at it as like best actor. Who's the real Glenn Close?
All right.
All right?
All right. Not supporting actor, but best actor.
Absolutely.
I think what a lot of people in the Big West are really curious about is if Long Beach State gets upset again for a 2nd straight year, will they still get an at-large berth into the NCAA tournament?
In my view, no question in my mind. We talked about the numbers to know the #1 strength of schedule in the country. Now, so okay, they didn't really beat anybody during that stretch other than Pitt.
At Pitt.
When Trey Woodall was healthy and Pitt was playing well, and I think that's a quality win for them. The bottom line is they played everybody tough. And Dan Monson, he wasn't scared. He went on the road and played those tough games. and now undefeated in the Big West. That sends a message to me. Joe Lunardi has him as a number 11 seed right now. I think that's fair, and I think that's accurate.
And I think there's going to be a lot of people, when they're filling out their brackets, they're going to pick Long Beach State to win at least one, if not two.
Two teams that can defend the Power Six as well as anybody in the country. They're built to guard and rebound. One is Long Beach State, the other is Wichita State. Watch out for the Shockers.
Nearly another block by Alan Williams. Instead, he'll be whistled for the foul call.
Wichita State, Josh, is 18-3 on the road over the last 2 seasons.
That's unbelievable.
They can go on the road and they can beat you.
That was the 4th foul on Alan Williams, so he will come out. He's been plagued by foul trouble in the last 3 or 4 games.
How about Murray State? Coming back winning at Tennessee Tech tonight, only 1 defeat on the season. They won 23 consecutive games, led by Isaiah, the long-range cannon. Well, that kid's strong. He's a tremendous leader for Steve Prohm's Murray State basketball team.
So now as Orlando Johnson comes back into the game, he's going to shift to point guard now with both TJ Taylor and Nate Garth on the sidelines. So we'll see how the Gauchos offense looks with Johnson running the point.
Well, offensively, when he plays the point, that's his future position in my view. It's a matter of if he can defend at that level at the point guard position.
Cerna in trouble, finds Nunnally. 10 on the shot clock. Back to Cerna. And Jaime Cerna in the paint. He makes 64% of his shots on the season.
Well, Nunnally showed me something there, though. Usually he's been jumping up, shooting that ball. That time, nice little skip pass into the paint.
Herman missing that baseline jumper, and it's off the hand of Cerna. Cal Poly will retain possession. Cal Poly's going to make a run to get in this game. It's got to start now, huh?
It really does. They got to start knocking down some 3 balls.
Herman is blocked by Nunnally out of bounds.
And Dylan Royer, number 13 in green, he was the guy that led the way offensively in the first half. You got David Hanson, another guy that can jump over defenders, make shots.
Taylor. And the third effort does not go down. And now it's going to be Cal Poly ball as it goes out of bounds. Joe Claro wanted a foul call. 3 opportunities for the Mustangs. They've been cleaning up on the offensive rebounding end, but they haven't been able to convert necessarily enough as they would like, Mark.
Yeah, that's got to be a big concern for Santa Barbara.
Hanson, a little floater and a tough shot against Orlando Johnson goes down.
These are 2 typically very good rebounding teams. Cal Poly almost 5 plus 5 rebounds per game. Santa Barbara 4 plus 4 rebounds per game. But so far, these teams are dead even.
15 offensive rebounds tonight for Cal Poly against 8 for the Gauchos. Johnson, the air ball there. Cerna fighting, bodies flying all over the place, and this is going to be a jump ball on the alternating possession.
Foul. Real close to a technical foul right there.
And the officials are going to get together perhaps to discuss whether or not that is a technical foul.
Well, Christian Peterson's a guy that plays with a lot of emotion, kind of threw the ball down. Usually when you slam the ball like that, it's called a technical foul. Here's the scrum. You'll see Peterson, number 24, come in. Gets the basketball. Tries to call the timeout.
And they did indeed call a technical foul against Christian Peterson for slamming the ball down into the ground.
So a little delayed technical foul right there. But it was obvious. It's the right call.
So Dylan Royer, an 85% free throw shooter, stepped to the line to shoot 2.
That's a big technical foul.
Yeah, let's mark this down right now. It was 63-52, an 11-point lead for the Gauchos. We'll see what Royer does after making the first. So they've scored 2 on this possession. Now there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock as Joe Calero reminds his team. Let's see if they can get a 4 or 5 point possession right here. Peterson will come out. Keegan Hornbuckle comes in for the first time. And now Bob Williams wants to call a timeout to talk it over for UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah, it'll still be Santa Barbara's ball. They had possession.
On Sunday, the top 2 women's basketball teams in the SEC take the court on ESPNU. First at 1:30 Eastern, SEC leading Kentucky takes on Mississippi State. Then at 3:30 Eastern, Tennessee tries to keep pace with Kentucky as they host Florida. The home court for college hoops as part of Judgment Week is on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app.
And what an inspiration, Pat Summitt at Tennessee, number 9 in the country. Of course, he hopes she'll be coaching for many more years to come.
Well, as we look at Joe Calero diagramming plays for his team, at what point do they need to start trying for a few more 3-pointers, or how much can they still continue to be patient offensively?
I think they can still stay with their game plan. He's diagramming Santa Barbara's out-of-bounds play right there. He wants to do a good job of taking Nunley and Orlando Johnson out of the play. In fact, he's talking about giving up a little bit of paint in order to get out on those guys. And look at the play. Bob Johnson's drawing up the exact same play right now. See that little screening action where he's moving toward the corner? That's designed for Johnson and Nunley. It's interesting to see both coaches diagramming exactly the same play.
So both coaches right on the ball. Let's see who out-executes the other team. And 5 on the shot clock. Nunley and Johnson, 25 points in this game. Only 9 in the second half, though. Excuse me, they had 25 in the first half, 9 in the second half.
There goes Johnson, there goes Nunley. Well picked up by Cal Poly.
Johnson with 1 on the shot clock. Just hits rim. And Cerna was fouled, and he'll go back to the line.
You just saw a great example of 2 coaches working their craft. Bob Williams has not a bounds play where he wants to get his 2 best players the basketball, and Joe Calero countered perfectly. He drew up the exact same play. That's preparation.
So Cerna back to the line. The senior from Laguna Beach. He's normally a 71% free throw shooter. Missed the first one. Had a tough night against Long Beach State. You can see on his right eye, just to the right of it, he got elbowed by a teammate. Drew some blood, had to come out a couple of times in that game. Also fouled out, 5 turnovers, just 1 point. He's an important part of this Gaucho team.
Makes him look tough. I like it.
A little half-court trap here by the Gauchos. Hanson inside. Not only the rebound, but he traveled.
Good call. Not only got the loose ball, but took 2 steps with it. Fisher was right on top of it.
New shot clock for Cal Poly. Taylor with great possession and scores.
We got an 8-point game.
And again, it was an 11-point game at the time of the technical foul against Christian Peterson. Now they try and go back inside to Cerna. He falls down. Bob Williams wanted a foul call.
Well, and here we go. Joe Calero called this a Detroit possession. What he means by that, he doesn't want to use a timeout to set a play and set their defense. He wants his team to be patient, to execute, use a little bit of clock, and then attack off the dribble and have hands and feet ready to shoot.
Maury Thurman making sure that they can savor every second possible there before he picks up the ball and starts the clock.
Hanson 34, Royo 13. They're the guys that can do the most damage from the perimeter.
Furman lost it. But who knocked it last? It was off Furman's hands. And that's not what Cal Poly wanted. A rare turnover for Cal Poly. They're down by 8, 3:47 remaining here from Santa Barbara. Gauchos trying to defend their home court. The storyline coming into the game was Orlando Johnson. He becomes the all-time leading scorer in UC Santa Barbara history, and he's had quite a game, Mark.
Orlando Johnson, the greatest scorer ever at UC Santa Barbara. Why? Because he's got depth. That's the dagger that did it right there and broke the record. Why? Because he's got strength on the fadeaway. Why? Because he's willing to knock down big shots and anticipate defensively and get out in the open court. That's why Orlando Johnson is the supreme scorer at Santa Barbara.
Let's revisit the one-on-one. Cal Poly, the turnovers, everything looking about what we thought so far.
They've taken great care of the ball. They cherish the basketball, and Orlando Johnson with 16 points tonight. One-on-one is dead on tonight.
Orlando Johnson averages exactly 20, so he's real close to his average. James Nunnally has scored 18 to lead all scorers. That's 3 above his average.
We're going to see some full court pressure coming out of the timeout from Joe Calero and Cal Poly.
So the Gauchos get it in easily. They get it across the timeline in about 8.5 seconds.
Well, here's where Santa Barbara can hurt you. They've got 2 great go-to guys late in shot clock in Johnson and Nunnally.
And that's Boswell in the game. He's a big three-point shooter. And a great feed inside and a left-handed finish by the freshman Alan Williams. Big basket there, gets the Gaucho lead back up to 10.
Well, he used that left arm just to clear the defender and create space for himself inside.
Every possession becomes so critical now for Cal Poly.
Boy, a lot of shot clock being used.
Royer looked up to see the shot clock. It's now at 10. Hansen for 3. And a rebound by Johnson.
Well, that deliberate offensive set works against Cal Poly now. Joe Calero wanted to try to get in a trap situation. Defense couldn't react.
There's Nunnally curling, leaving it for Williams. And it's blocked out of bounds. Good help defense by Amari Furman to come back and swat that one.
Well, he is one strong dude inside. Number 15, Alan Williams.
9 points and 9 rebounds as he takes a seat on Bob Williams' bench.
Bob Williams is showing how he positioned the ball down by his shoulder, which made him an easy target for a blocked shot instead of getting the ball, raising it up, keeping it high.
Nunnally. He's going to go to the line to shoot 2. So as James Nunnally will go to the free throw line, we'll watch a very unorthodox way of setting up. He's not close to the middle of the paint, Mark.
Well, there you see him off center.
Story goes, he wasn't making them when he was right in the middle, so he moved over a little bit, started making them, kept with it. Do you mind that as a former coach?
I don't mind at all, as long as the guy's comfortable and has confidence. And obviously he's comfortable and has confidence from that spot.
Timeout by Cal Poly's head coach Joe Calero. So the lead is 11 with 2:19 to go.
When we talk about that free throw, Pete Rose once said, see the ball, hit the ball, and be comfortable. He didn't care about your stance. He wanted you to be comfortable. And I think the same way in free throw shooting, look, I don't say that every kid should shoot it off center. It's not a good strategy. But for this kid, he feels more comfortable off center. And if he's making them, I say go make some more.
Absolutely. So here in the Big West, a big game for UC Santa Barbara. Let's take a look elsewhere around the conference. And Cal State Northridge and UC Irvine are in overtime. Irvine leading by 6. That one is not a final yet. And we take a look at the standings. Of course, Long Beach State 14-0, 2 more wins, and they will finish undefeated. Santa Barbara looking for that number 2 seed.
Now, Long Beach State, one of 5 teams still undefeated in conference play.
So James Nunnally to the left of right in the middle of the free throw line. Makes them both.
Well, the other thing it does, it really helps him line up that right elbow. It's really not a bad way to shoot free throws.
So now Cal Poly going to need some urgency, trailing by 12. Nearly a turnover. Good pass there by Furman, and Hansen was fouled. Foul against Nunnally.
Now Cal Poly's got to go more of the quick hit package now offensively. And Joe Claro's going to go with some possession situation substitutions now.
Mentioned earlier that Joe Claro, one of 16 kids in his family. David Hansen at the free throw line, one of 10 kids in his family. Older brother Matt played at Cal Poly. Crucial missed free throw by Hansen, who's only 69% free throw shooter. And he missed them both. Crucial misses.
One thing, it's a lot easier being a father having 10 kids than it is being a mother. That's hard work.
Now the Gauchos will space things out and use some time. Cal Poly looking for a steal.
Now Joe Claro's going to go ahead and play through the possession here. He doesn't want to foul. He wants to play it straight up.
12 on the shot clock. And now Bob Williams wants a timeout. They still have 2 left even after that one. So let's take a look at some of the news and notes around the Big West Conference.
Long Beach State pursues perfection. 2 games left, 14-0. Cal State Fullerton won 9 out of their last 11 games. The conference tournament, what event that's going to be in Anaheim, California. Beautiful arena.
And this is an interesting Big West Conference. Next year, Hawaii is joining. The year after that, San Diego State will join. And so it's a conference that's undergoing some changes, and they're going to add a lot more travel, and they're also going to add one of the powerhouses on the West Coast.
Yeah, San Diego State is a great get. Let me tell you something. Hawaii as well with Gib Arnold. That's an improving program and continues to get better. I saw them earlier this year in the WAC, and I really thought that they'd make a little bit more of a move in the WAC this year, but Gib Arnold's bringing some pretty good players.
After our game is over, we'll go ESPNU Sports Center. Sports Center U coming up next after our one, but still 1:44 remaining. Gauchos trying to hold on to this 12-point lead, and there's a sloppy turnover.
That drives you crazy.
Sure does.
Bob Williams used a timeout to get him set and run out of bounds play and run a set for Orlando Johnson that gets kicked out of bounds. That's why I'm sitting next to you. I don't miss those moments. And there were a lot of them.
Cal Poly needs something quick. Eversley will try a long 3. Too strong. And it'll still be Cal Poly basketball.
We've got to give Santa Barbara's defense some credit tonight. They've really been able to get out and defend the 3-ball effectively.
Yeah, Royer had 4 in the first half, but none in the second half. Furman trying to create. And that's going to still be Cal Poly basketball, as the officials say that it was UC Santa Barbara that knocked it over the basket.
I've never understood why you can't just play that. It doesn't hit anything. I've never understood why you just can't continue to play if you can retrieve the ball in bounds. Same way with shots from behind the backcourt. If it goes in, I think it ought to count.
Furman tries the 3, Cerna the rebound. Now I think the only question is going to be what the final score is going to be here. Let's see if Cal Poly will foul. Trailing by 12. It doesn't look like it so far. Just over a minute left.
What a night for Orlando Johnson. All-time leading scorer at Santa Barbara.
Well, Bob Williams is going to be happy with his victory, but he's not going to be happy with the way his team executed on those last two possessions. A ball off the foot and then a sloppy travel there by Boswell, who got caught in midair. There's another turnover for Cal Poly. Peterson comes down with it. So UC Santa Barbara hasn't been home a whole lot lately, just their second home game in 35 days. But they make it worth their while as Orlando Johnson rewrites the Gaucho history books.
Santa Barbara now, with this victory, will tie Fullerton, most importantly, for the #2 seed in the Big West Conference tournament.
A block by Nunnally. The exclamation point on this one, no, it's going to be a foul. The official says that he got him in the forehead. We take another look. Maybe the elbow got him on the forehead afterward. It's pretty close to being all ball, though. Yeah, awfully close. Can understand why Nunnally's upset.
But he just walked away, did the right thing, mature thing.
Something about Bob Williams' coach teams, they seem to be playing their best basketball at the end of the year. Again, 2 straight conference tournament victories. He's taken his team to the NCAA tournament 3 times overall.
Well, it's amazing how teams can peak when you've got Orlando Johnson and James Nunnally. And those two guys, they can really score. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch for Bob Williams.
And they're used to it. They're both seniors.
They've experienced success.
And especially after going back-to-back years, they won 3rd in a row. So that's going to just about do it here as the 3 is made by Eversley. All right, Mark, final thoughts here as the Gauchos win at 68-60.
Congratulations to Orlando Johnson. Class act, has overcome a lot of adversity in his life. Now the leading scorer in the history of Santa Barbara.
Once again, our final score, UC Santa Barbara 68, Cal Poly 60. For Mark Adams and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Josh Suchon. Coming up next on ESPNU is SportsCenter U. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Good night from Santa Barbara.